Carol Baskins. Killed her husband, whacked him. There's no way that didn't happen. Fed her to her tigers, now they're snacking. Carol Baskin. That goddamn song has been stuck in my head for weeks now. For weeks. I feel like when I'm just sitting here and my mind is blank and I'm ready to populate my brain with the next thing, all I hear is Carol Baskin. I have not watched any Tiger King yet, and my camera is not focusing properly. I don't know if it's because of the light. I've not watched Tiger King. I've heard very good things about it, but as a lot of you know, I'm just not one to really sit down and watch television. I sat and watched a good bit of it. I'm trying to remember at what point Weenie was watching it, because I did catch a good bit of a few episodes, and it, like, the way that they filmed that documentary was really, really good. You know it's a good documentary when you just are passing from the kitchen to the bedroom and you're just or office, whatever, and you just catch a quick glimpse of it, and you just get sucked in. And I do remember sitting down for a little bit and watching it, but I don't really know what happened on the grand scheme of things. I know that he got herpes. I saw a picture of him with the herps on the lerps. That's about all I remember. I think I'd like to watch it at some point. I think what my brain tries. I think the trick that my mind plays on itself is my brain tells me that I want to watch a TV show. And then the TV show comes out, and everybody watches it, and everybody gets super excited for it. And there's all the social media buzz. And I'm like, yeah, well, we're going to watch it. And then my brain tells itself, you'll just watch it later. There's plenty of time to watch TV later. But then by the time later comes around, the majority of it has been spoiled. The majority of the story has already been released. And at this point, there's even like a sequel. You can't even complain about spoilers after a certain point because it's been a year or two. And then I just end up not watching it. And sometimes I get really lucky where it's maybe years after the show has already been done and I have a chance to watch it. And it's been so long that I don't remember anything about the show, and maybe I've forgotten about the spoilers. That's pretty rare for that to happen. But one of the shows that I was able to catch while it was still in production, which is still one of my all-time favorite shows, is Mr. Robot. I think I had watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 of that show while season 4 was in production. And season 4, I think there was 2 years. There was a good amount of time in between the third and the fourth season. So I had a lot of time to catch up. Weenie actually had time to get caught up in between that as well. And then we watched season 4 as it debuted. And oh my God, having to watch television shows as they come out week after week is absolute torture. Like, can you imagine watching a movie in 3 parts a week apart from each other? It's not how content should be consumed. What a terrible, terrible experience. And that used to be our normal. Not only that, but imagine a movie. Imagine like Lord of the Rings extended edition, separated into 4 weeks with an hour apiece. And each one of those hours, now let's say 6 weeks broken up. So 40 minutes broken up by 20 minutes of commercials. Like a director would eat your ass if you told them that was, well, that's a good thing. You know, they'd be mad if you were to tell them that is how you were going to separate their art. Now I understand that the TV shows are for a different target audience and they're made a different way, but like now that we have streaming services and episodes are released as a whole, it's going to be impossible to go back to wanting to wait a week for everything. But anyways, good morning. It is 4:31 a.m. on Tuesday, and I think it might have been longer than a week that I've uploaded one of these morning videos. And it got to the point where I was supposed to record one on a Tuesday, and then I was going to record it on Wednesday, and then I was going to wake up and record it on a Thursday. And I kept pushing it. And of course, if I don't have like a real specific topic that I want to talk about, it's hard for me to like record. And I'm still trying to get over that hump of, you don't necessarily have to have one big, valuable, important topic to talk about. You can still just go on and chat, because that was the whole point of you starting these videos in the first place. But I still have to get over that hump. Like, dude, you don't have anything to talk about. Just don't even record the video. The second part of me missing a week, or possibly even more than a week, is, and I kind of alluded to this earlier when I first came back to streaming. I knew that there wasn't going to be a way that I was going to be able to maintain my content release schedule and my productivity schedule once I came back to streaming. I know that there was going to be something, I had to check I was recording, something that was going to fall off. I wasn't going to be able to maintain it. And for the most part, I've been able to do pretty good. The Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast has been, oh my God, dude, my throat. I'm sorry. The Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast has been getting out on time. I've been able to put highlights out on time. Monday morning is now edit the podcast time, because by the time I get everything done, by the time I get the video exported from the streaming PC, the audio balanced, the entire video edited with the YouTube outro, the audio version separate and uploaded as a podcast, it's about 2 to 3 hours a week. And so now I've just completely dedicated Monday morning to that, so that I can always post the podcast on social media that next day. And so it's up on YouTube, ready to go. The audio version's out, ready to go. And then I can save all the highlighting that I do for later down the road. So over the next week or two, I will listen to the podcast, suggest edits for myself. I will look for the helpers to suggest edits as well. And then, we can push out the updates the following week. And I'm still trying to figure out that schedule. Okay, what days am I working? What days am I trying to push out content? Which days am I taking micro or macro content and converting it to micro content? Trying to find space for all of these things. Do I have time to edit the podcast? Do I have time to edit highlights for the podcast? I would love to do these types of videos every day and make it a daily thing, but that's just not scalable. I want to be able to leave mornings open. I also want to I might try and record a YouTube video in the morning, and that might be like my prime YouTube video recording time, because most days I'm finding that even on days that are late in work, my day job just drains the hell out of me, like creatively. Like when I come home, the last thing that I want to do is turn on the camera and start recording a video. So I might try and do that in the morning. The only problem is I'm just always going to look disheveled in the morning. So I'm probably always going to look tired in the videos, but it's not about that. It's about the quality of the video and the value of that content. But we'll figure that out later. The other thing that's been really hogging my time, and I kid you not, this is one of those things that I've just sat at my computer for hours and tried to figure out the logistics of how this goes. Like, how do I take one stream and break it down into clips? How do I organize those clips on my hard drive? How do I organize those clips so that I can create multiple pieces of content from them? There's multiple folders. One would be for all of the clips that I've taken in a month. The other would be for if I want to make a clip compilation for the month. And the other one would be, well, what about if I want to make a clip compilation of just Crocs and Hot Pockets videos? Like, what does my schedule look like? And I have actually written it down, how I want things to be broken down, what happens at the end of the month. And I want to make a video on this because I feel like documenting your process on how you create content and what the plan is in following a structure, I think that's really, really important. And I think it's a great way to always give yourself little pieces of content that you can upload here and there. You'll just always have a backlog of content that you could upload at any time. Oh my God, it's been 10 minutes. So I definitely want to spend a lot of time working on this and kind of perfecting it. And I think I've gotten it to the point where I am comfortable. And the very, very loose plan is this. At the end of the month, I go through and I download all of the clips that I like, that people have taken of my channel. And I download, and those all go into an archive folder called Twitch Clip Archive. From there, I can separate off clips that I want to upload to Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So that is one folder. I have a second short highlight folder, highlights that usually last in between 5 and 10 seconds, like quick, funny little things that would be good for Instagram. Those go into their own folder. And then I have a Crocs highlights channel, which are just funny highlights from the podcast. So not only do those belong in the master archive for the month, but those also go into a subfolder for Crocs and Hot Pockets highlights. So there are already 3 different categories of other content that I've created just from downloading my clips at the end of the month. And trying to figure out how those files move on my computer. Like when I first download them, they go to this place. When they're ready to go into a clip compilation, they get copied and pasted into this place. How do I know which clips I've already uploaded to social media? And this is where I've come up with the concept of content codes. And I'll go into more detail later on. But I've come up with a series of content codes that I put in the titles of files. So I know, does this need an edit? Does this need an upload? Like, what's the subject matter of this? And I've talked a little bit about what I did with my clips recently. I don't know when I talked about this. I don't know if I did this in a morning video, but I went back and downloaded all of my Twitch clips and odd shots from 2014 till current. And they all have the date that they were taken, who the streamer is. Most of the time it's me, so Knackers, the subject matter, like falling out of chair, and then the content code afterwards. If there's anything that I can use to further describe what that piece of content is. So that way, when I'm going through and trying to make a content, let's say I want to make a compilation video of like every time I've spilled a drink, I can go into my Twitch Clips Master Archive, search spill or drink or the content code in relation to that, and then boom, I see all the clips, and I can quickly like copy those into a single folder and use that as compilation video. So that has absolutely taken over my brain, and there have been days that I have sat here head in hand just trying to wrap my head around, how do I do this every month so that it's consistent, it's concise. I need to be able to recall this process without having to reference a sheet every single time, and just trying to come up with that process in my brain for some reason has been really, really difficult. Now I finally gotten to it, but I kid you not, it has taken days and dare I say weeks of sitting down with notepads and writing it out by hand, just trying to figure out of how logistically this process goes from the stream to the finished product, and keeping it organized and then keeping it backed up. It made me feel overwhelmed for a while, but I was so determined on figuring out how it was going to work. I knew that I could, I just needed to do it. I was so determined that I couldn't stop devoting time to it. Like I would tell Whitney that I would want to play video games, and then I'd be sitting here for 4 hours and be like, look, lady, I got to figure out this content release schedule. Okay. And it was almost like an achievement for me. Yeah. I was excited to get it done, and I'm excited to say that I've, for the most part, figured it out. And now that I figured it out, I really want to make a YouTube video on my process and just show other people, hey, This is how, as a content creator, as a streamer, you can take your big content, chop it up into little pieces. This is how you can collaborate with other people to get a final product, and it's not as intimidating as it seems. And hopefully, me throwing out my ideas on how I was able to accomplish this myself will, maybe issue some relief for somebody in the future, so they don't have to go through the same thing that I did. But anyways, I think I'm going to cut it there. 15 minutes. It's not 20 minutes. We did good. Thank you very much for checking out this morning video. I hope you've been doing fantastic lately. Stay at home orders are starting to get released in places around the world, or maybe even just the United States. And I know for us, ours got extended to May 28th, so we're still going to be inside for a little bit. I don't know what our world looks like after the fact, but whatever it is, be safe out there. Take care of your friends and family. Take time for yourself. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Mindfulness, shades, get up on your sleep. Make sure you're drinking water. Meditate if that's your sort of thing, and just take care of yourself. But I really appreciate you checking out this video. I hope you're doing awesome, and I'll see you soon. By the way, Crocs and Hot Pockets roulette is being announced today, so if you're interested in that, keep an eye on Twitter. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later. See you.